Okay. Alright, we're going to do a part 2 at Netbeans here, and we're going to actually use some of the stuff we did in the first video where we created a bunch of libraries and used Netbeans to create libraries that we can drop into our projects. So this time what we're going to do is we're going to create a little simple OIM client, and we're going to use the libraries that we added last time. So we're going to create a new project. Okay, we're going to, most of the stuff that we do for OIM, it's usually either going to be some kind of batch program or it's going to be an adapter of some sort. In either case, it's usually a jar type deployment. We don't, unless you're writing outside web services that you're going to be calling from an adapter. In most cases, you're just creating jar files. So Netbeans is much better at doing that than Eclipse is, and that's probably the only reason why I use Netbeans in this case for these types of jar deployments. And you'll see as we go along, it's a little bit easier to do it with Netbeans. Okay, so we're going to create a new project. It's basically just a class library. We're going to call this, let's call it AI OIM helper. Okay, so basically what we're going to do here is we're going to write a little helper library that has the ability to go read an IT resource or read a lookup table and get the values and return a hash map of the values in those resources or in that lookup table. And then we're going to write a little front-end tester to drive it. Okay, and in order to do that, we're going to have to use the OIM Client libraries. So that's basically what we're going to demonstrate here. Okay, so we're creating the new project here, and that's the project name. Now, the end result is when we actually build the jar for this, it's going to be called projectname.jar. So you want to name your project whatever you want your jar file to be. So in this case, we're going to end up with AIOIMHelper.jar. Okay, here we go. So you see here we have a place to put our source packages and our libraries. Okay, we start out with the JDK. So the first thing we're going to do is go to Properties, Libraries, and we're going to add a library. Okay, so what we're looking for here is the OIM Client library. Okay, so now we have the OIM Client library. Okay, and it just so happens that I already have some code for this. Of course, we want to make sure it actually works before. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a new package. It's going to be com AI OIM helper. Okay, then we're going to copy these files and paste them here. Okay, so we have our properties. Now the reason why everything is working is because we've already included our client library. Okay, now here I'll give you a little example. We'll go back to Properties, Libraries, and we'll remove it. Now we'll see all the red dots start showing up. Okay, so you see now we're going to get all the missing imports and stuff. So now we'll go back to Properties, we'll go to Libraries, we'll add the OIM Client library back in. Okay, and you'll see if we open this up, you'll see what we've actually what we actually get by including that jar. Okay, so that cleaned up all our red dots, so we have no more compiler errors. So the next thing we're going to do, of course, is we're going to need a tester. So we're going to have to create a new package, com.ai.oimhelper.test. tester. Okay, and then we also have some example code for that. We're going to copy, paste it here. Okay, so you see what we're going to do here is in this code we're going to set up everything we need to make a client call across the wire to OIM, which I have running on one of my VMs in another room here. So we're going to log in with the environment to OIM using the OIM client. Then we're going to use the client to get the last two legacy interfaces that are still legacy. These have been migrated to actual services. Then we're going to call the AI properties here and have it return us an AI properties object, and we're going to pass in an IT resource and the lookup operations, and then we can then make calls to get the things we need to get. Okay. So then we'll say, okay, well, here we have a demo IT resource defined in OIM, and here we have a demo lookup table defined in OIM. We want to return a map of all the values, and then we're going to print that out. We're going to do one call for each one and see what we get back. Okay, so the other thing too is we're going to have to run this from batch. So what we want to do is go and get the bat file. I'm going to paste it here, and we got our run it bat file. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Alright, so basically in order to run the client, of course, we're going to have to point to the OIM client jar, and we're going to have to point to the WebLogic full client that we had to build using the jar builder from WebLogic. And of course, this is the jar file we are building. When we do a clean build from Netbeans, it's going to create a dist folder and put our jar file there. Okay, and then the OIM client, of course, comes with its own stuff. So when you unzip the OIM client jar that comes with OIM, this is what you get. You get the configuration directory, you get a lib directory, you get a sample directory, you get the client jar. Okay, in the lib directory there's 3 other jars here that it needs to talk, and those are the ones we're specifying here toward the end: the logging jar, the Eclipse link. Okay, and